Good morning and welcome to Inside Texas Politics. This time next year, Dallas ISD will not have any campuses named after Confederate generals. Thursday night, the board voted unanimously to let communities come up with new names for 4 schools, but the debate took some interesting turns. In studio, trustee Joyce Foreman, who represents Southwest Oak Cliff, and joining the questioning is, as always, Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram. Joyce, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
At Thursday's meeting, you said that name changing, quote, is a diversion from the real problem. 14 low-performing schools out of 220. Those are real issues, you said. Should Dallas ISD have even gone through this process to rename the 4 Confederate campuses?
Well, I actually think renaming campuses after Confederate soldiers is a national issue that's being addressed everywhere. But what I wanted to make clear is that just changing the names doesn't change the culture, and that we really have to take a good look at what's going on in some of the DISD schools, particularly those that are low performing. Because of those 14 that are low performing, about 8 of those used to be campuses that were not low performing based on when we were under the desegregation order. And so it's just not about changing names, it's about changing culture. Which
is obviously a much longer term issue. You originally pushed to remove Confederate names from schools. At Thursday's board meeting, though, I'm sitting out there in the audience in the first row there. You didn't mind letting communities shorten existing names like Stonewall Jackson just to Stonewall. How do you reconcile the two? You wanted to get rid of the names, but you were okay with shortening some of them.
Well, very easily. I never was okay with just shortening the name. I wanted to give them the option of looking at that, because as I understand it, there's a community called Stonewall, which is not Stonewall Jackson.
Stonewall Terrace is the community.
Yes, and so I wanted them to have the option as a community to make the change. We've gone through name change before. General Hood, Robert B. Hood,
another Confederate
general, was named for one of our schools, and then the school decided that they were going to go out and look at a name change on their own. This is prior to all of this national changing of names. And we left it to the community to make the decision as to what they wanted to name their school. And in the process, the community decided to name it after their community, which was Piedmont.
That's Piedmont Global Academy you're talking about.
Piedmont Global Academy. Yeah. And so one of the things I think I tried to continue to express to everyone is that I wanted the communities to have all options for the name change. You know, one of the things that is somewhat disturbing to me is that we've gotten caught up in changing names, but we haven't gotten caught up in how do we change the culture in these schools. As you remember, there was a father there that talked about the culture of what happened to his child within that school who happened to be African American. And so did we talk about how we're going to change that? No, we didn't. And so we need to really look at not just a name change, but a culture change.
But are you saying that there maybe should be more schools with new names and new cultures and new identities? Are you saying that
there's a possibility? There is a possibility that more schools will have name changes. We're just going through this process for the 4 generals. Actually, the administration bought for, I believe, 22 names, 21 or 22 names of schools that possibly could be changed. And we decided just on the 4 generals. I have schools in my neighborhood, at least 2, that community people have talked about changing the name.
And I know you supported this, but Stonewall is a successful name in that community, in that elementary school. And, you know, Stonewall was LBJ's hometown, who brought the Civil Rights Act forth. But that still is a treacherous name, or at least a dangerous name.
Well, it is to some. And what I believe is that Stonewall Jackson is a dangerous name. To most of us. That was the general's name, Stonewall Jackson. And of course, I continue to believe that our communities would come forward with names that would be acceptable by the board.
And Joyce, to clarify what you just told Bud, do you want to see more names change?
I think that there will be some more names change in my district. I cannot speak for the other districts.
What are some schools?
One of the schools that I've been approached about is Oriel Thornton, to change the name R.L. Thornton and William Atwell.
Now, Thornton was a former mayor of Dallas, I believe.
Correct.
Why change that name?
The community doesn't feel like Thornton was the kind of representative that they wanted the school to be named after, and so I'm open to listen to the community. And then William Atwell was a judge who fought against desegregation, and so there are some people in the community that want to look at that name also, and I'm open to that.
Is the community then the deciding factor? Whatever will stir more pride in the community?
For me, whatever the community brings forward, I'm willing to look at it, because we do have a name-changing policy, and the community is open, and I'm open to listening to the community about the names they may want changed.
Some of this may make perfect sense to people in Dallas watching, but for all the people in the greater North Texas area who are going, they're just going to get rid of all the white people's names who were in Civil War, segregation, anywhere up until the 60s. How do you respond to that kind of concern?
Well, I don't think that there's any way you're going to get rid of all the white people's names. If you look at the 220 schools, you're not going to get rid of all the white people's names. But I think what you're looking at and what we're experiencing is what's going on nationally. And nationally, we are responding to what is going on. What concerned me the most about last night's meeting is that we extended the time, which will open us up to more criticism, more scrutiny, more conversation, more people coming down to speak. And I just kind of feel like we'll end up in the same situation that the city of Dallas was in removing the Robert E. Lee statue.
Great. Joyce Foreman, Dallas ISD trustee, thanks for coming in and explaining this. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.